Edomia, Edom, and their dukes and duchesses. So these are the nations that have dukes and duchesses. They have that title. These are colonizer nations. These are Danites. I'm particularly going to be covering England, France, and the Holy Roman Empire, which is Italy. So the reading Obadiah, pertaining to the last days. For Adonai's vengeance will soon fall upon all the Gentile nations. As you have done to Israel, so it will be done to you. Your acts will boomerang upon your heads. You drank my cup of punishment upon my holy mountain, and the nations around about will drink it too. Yes, drink it and stagger back and disappear from history, no longer nations anymore. But Jerusalem will become a refuge, a way of escape. Israel will reoccupy her land, which is already happening, by the way. Israel will be a fire that sets the dry fields of Edom aflame. There will be no saviors, for Adonai has spoken. Now in the reading of Malachi. I showed my love for you by loving your father Jacob. I didn't need to. I even rejected his own brother Esau and destroyed Esau's mountains and inheritance to give it to the jackals of the desert. And if his descendants shall say, we will rebuild the ruins, then Adonai hosts will say, try to, if you like, but I will destroy it again. For the country is named the land of wickedness, and their people are called those whom Jah does not forgive. O Jezreel, lift your eyes to see what Yah is doing all around the world. Then you will say, truly, Adonai's great power goes far beyond our borders. Mordecai's dream. This is the switching of the dragons. That's what took place during April 8th during the eclipse. That means that the judgment that was on Israel was lifted and now placed on the Gentile nations, the enemies of Israel. That's what that means, the switching of the guards. In the book of Esther, it tells you, I will compare my judgment to a circle. And speaking of circles, I posted this video. In it explains, in Freemasonry, they have a circle of friends. These are called the five circles. The Olympic rings that you see, the five circles. One representing what? Europe. Flooding wreaks havoc across Europe and France. Heavy rain and floods hit parts of Germany. France, and you see the inside of the star? The Pentagon. This is a Christian nation, all right, Christendom. It's not the same. They do not serve the same God that we serve. They never have, never will. America, another one of those circles. I'll be coming back to America. And as for France, floods in France. Germany, another circle. I explained in past teaching that these are Germanic people. In fact, the Queen of England is Germanic, German. And a dam broke the other day, so they're really underwater right now. They're really flooded. Another circle, Italy. Italy is under watch right now because it's a super volcano that's about to erupt. They want to evacuate 143,000 people, even though there's 3 million people that live in that area. They've been having hundreds of earthquakes for the last couple of weeks. And when it erupts, it will trigger a 100-foot high tsunami. Also, the volcano eruption in Iceland. Notice how all this started to happen after the eclipse? Judgment. Esau was born first, but in the womb, Jacob took hold of Esau's heel. So Esau runs this world, and Jacob the one that follows this world. The last will be first, and the first will be last. That's what that means. The switching of the lots. As the toes are partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. It's interesting because it says Jacob took hold of Esau's heel, and it also mentions the toes being partly iron and partly clay. They reminded me of Italy because it looks like a boot, and there's his heel. As of the 7 hills of Rome. You know that Rome and Washington, D.C. are sister cities, right? So it's set up exactly the same way. The 7 hills in Washington, D.C. Maryland. Virginia, as in Virgin Mary, the land of Mary. Somebody posted a breakdown of all the popes in history, and this one shows to be the last pope that there's going to be. Of course, it is. As you can see, Francis, whose father was named Peter, Pedro, but of course, Peter, as in St. Peter's, the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in my tribulation. And when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills, Rome, will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people, the end. So, circles again, England and America. What's happening is that Abba is cleaning the world right now. So this is Colombia. Let's not forget Dubai, the flooding that took place in Dubai. Indonesia, May 28. India, cyclone. Flooding in China, and China has had a lot of earthquakes and flooding this year. And this I came across today. It's interesting if you see the sign and you look at it closely, 666. I covered this before that Abba has destruction angels. In the time of destruction, they will pour out their force, and there will appear the wrath of him who made them. Fire, hail, famine, death, all these were created for vengeance. During the testing of Job, the Abba didn't do that. The devil did. He did all that to Job. Abba allowed it, but the devil did all that damage to Job. He has angels for destruction. The angels of death in Hades. Mexico City, a hailstorm. Abba starts with his house first. So we are to be an example to the world. Italy's worst hailstorm ever. Texas, tornado, chaos, and hail. Tornado, catastrophe. Texas again. Since the eclipse, you notice how it has to stop with Texas and it's not going to. Because Texas is Egypt. And if you haven't noticed, everything repeats itself. So the plagues of Egypt are happening again. Because the second Exodus hasn't happened, but it will soon. If you haven't noticed, this is a battle of Yah versus the gods. So the reading of the Apocalypse of Abraham. These are the plagues that are happening now. Hear therefore what I'll tell you, because it will come to pass. The first is a sorrow of pain, sickness. The second, massive burning and destruction of many cities. The third, the destruction of pestilence, sickness of animals and cattle. The fourth, hunger, the whole world and its people. Fifth, among the rulers, destruction by means of earthquakes and sword. And the sixth, the increase of hail and snow. 7, wild beasts will be their grave, animals will kill them. The 8th, hunger, pestilence will change the course of destruction. The 9th, punishment, execution by the sword, in flight and distress. 10th, thunder and voices of destruction, earthquake. I also came across this yesterday. In the headlines. Bus-sized asteroid heading towards Earth. Notice the number? Interesting. And this is by NASA, by the way. As in the 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation. Yes, the 144,000 are the tribes. Absolutely. But please do not believe any of these hate groups, because the Gentile nations are grafted into the tree of life. For the branch that broke off, and the branch that broke off was Dan. Because right on the bottom, the top is the tribes, of course. After this, I saw a vast crowd too great to count, from all nations and provinces and languages, standing in front of the throne and before the Lamb. We were marked in steel earlier during the destruction of Jerusalem. We just come back. I explained that in past teachings. So the 144,000, it only pertains to Israel and Judah. And if the 144 wasn't true, why is it on the pyramid? Karma, 144,000. So the Ruach wanted me to let you guys know something else. Notice how many elections are happening worldwide? Look it up, the ultimate election year around the world. Mexico elected its first female president. Remember the time that Israel wanted an earthly king to rule over them? And they were giving King Saul, and you see how that worked out, right? And it's easy to see they were living in the last days. So keeping in mind, do you want an earthly king to rule over you in these last years? Or do you want Yah over you? Because election is the system of Babylon, L for election. You see, St. Peter's underneath it, L for election. Purge, election year. You see the gas mask? Interesting. Double X's for the female chromosome, for the fertility goddess. I'm also going to add this post that I came across. Are the royals literally not human? And he's going to show the beehive. I also covered that in the past. Because the Skynet over the earth is honeycomb earth. And we are the bees in the system. The keepers of the bee. That's the Pope tiara, a beehive. He will mark and seal you on the head and on the hand. Your head is for your worship. And the government. Your hand. How you work. Sustainable Development Goals. A dead bee. Yes, there are carriers of the Rh negative blood type, and these are Dracos. The bloodlines of the Anunnakis. Queen Antichrist. Winsler, Queen Elizabeth, shapeshifter. The Vatican, reptilians. And another thing that I want to remind you guys is that these two work together. And you can see religions are also in the pyramid. So the queen are the Danites. They join with the Canaanites, which is Rome, the eye above the Holy See. Your hand and your head, your worship and how you work, your money system. So when things start to happen, remember to be careful where you get your aid from and where you get your shelter from, because these two work together. These churches, the demonations, those are the daughters to the harlot. Religion is part of the Babylonian system. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So we're to be wise as a serpent.
And I said about the royal family that they are literally not human. Now, Aryan initiates, these are positioned between man and God in their belief system, which makes them demigods. A demigod or demigoddess is a part human and part divine offspring of a deity and a human, or someone who has attained the divine spark. This is the beehive hexagram. It symbolises elite rule over a worker colony. It also means in secret societies that we all work as one in order to achieve a common goal. Here we see the fleur-de-lis, which came from the bee symbol. And here we see just one example of many across the world, where we have beehive huts. This is Egypt. These were called the Sarmung. Sarmung means beekeeper, and that indicates that they are the knowledge keepers, because the nectar that bees collect is really symbolic for the knowledge that is collected by the knowledge keepers.
Notice he said Aryan, right? The Holy Grail, Aryan race. The Holy Grail, Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ went out to France and started a family. The Holy Grail, the Papal bloodline. Arian, a citizen of Grand Tataria. There was a race from historical records. What we're witnessing is the rise of Grand Tataria all over again.